Great. We're really happy to see everybody. Kind of, you're really small, but we're really excited to be with you today. Obviously, just a great week. I mean, we could not be more fired up about the draft here at the Browns, but also just hosting the draft here in Cleveland. Just great for the community. The national exposure has just been tremendous. It's so much fun to wake up and watch Good Morning Football and hear them nonstop talking about Cleveland. That could not be, that's just the best thing, and see the beautiful views. And of course, it's so nice to be able to celebrate our great weather here in Northeast Ohio. Hopefully that continues through the rest of the week. I couldn't talk about the draft without thanking the Mayor Jackson for just a tremendous job the city has done helping us get the draft off, and then also David Gilbert and the Destination Cleveland and the Sports Commission for all the hard work they've done for this. It's just tons of volunteers and lots of people have worked tirelessly to pull off this event, and it's absolutely stunning. And of course, we have to thank the NFL and the entire staff there that have are putting on a great show. So very excited to be hosting the draft this week.
Yeah, thanks, Dee. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank the frontline workers who, I guess, for the last 15 months have just done a tremendous job and will be appropriately recognized at the draft by having great seats, which they so richly deserve. And I think at the same time, to encourage everyone out there in Ohio and across the country who have not gotten their vaccine to do so. Dee and I are fully vaccinated. Our entire senior business team is, our entire coaching staff is, and we're strong believers in the vaccine and feel really strongly. And we tell everybody, where it's family members, players, coaches, people we work with in business, and we encourage them strongly to get the vaccine. Obviously excited about the work that AB and Kevin and Paul have done in getting us ready for the draft. I will tell you, it's a lot. Although we're glad to be where we are, it's a lot harder to pick at 26 than at 1 or 4 or 10 or 15 or 16, some places we picked in the past, but we're excited to see what our team can deliver.
Excellent. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Jimmy. We're going to head into questions. The first one will go to Tom Withers.
Hi, Dee. Hi, Jimmy. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Tom.
I think Andrew Berry said you guys were going to fill us in on what the Browns' plans were at 26. So what do you got?
I don't think Andrew said that.
You mentioned it before, though, Jimmy. How different is it to be kind of sitting back a little bit and not necessarily being on the clock right at the start?
Well, I mean, I think it's different because you're picking at 26 versus, like I said, a couple times we picked at 1. Both times we knew what we're going to do at 4, 10, et cetera. And it's, there's tremendous number of great college players like there always are, but there's a reason the NFL has you select in reverse order to how you finished. And, it'd be nice if you could finish high and pick high, but it doesn't work that way. But Andrew and team have been working hard literally since the season's been over, and we know they're well prepared and ready to go.
And Dee, you touched on this before, this is kind of a step back into normalcy, this big event. And does that give you an even greater sense of pride that Cleveland is going to be showcased in that light and being one of the kind of the first events as we get back to the way things were?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, all the safety protocols are in place. We have a vaccinated area. We feel very confident that we can pull off the event safely. But I do think it's going to give people, some excitement to get out. There's a lot of people I know that are planning on tailgating and coming downtown and experiencing the draft like they would normally experience a game, even though they're not going to be up close to the stage, but just want to experience it. So we encourage people to do that, social distance, of course. But I think it's going to be a tremendous time in Cleveland and lots of fun.
The great thing about the draft is it's free. And
yeah.
As Dee mentioned, there's still some COVID limitations out there, but anybody can come to the draft. You don't need a ticket, and it is free. And we know with the tremendous love of football, particularly the NFL, that our fans and everybody has in Northeastern Ohio will have a great turnout. And we're really happy, as Dee mentioned, for our fans, for NFL fans, and obviously for the city of Cleveland, which will be front row to the nation the next 3 days or the next several days.
Well, you actually need a ticket for the vaccinated area, guys. So let me make that clear. But
thanks, guys.
You can come down and enjoy the rest of the environment, of course.
Thank you, Tom. The next question will go to Mary Kay Cabot.
Oh, yes, Jimmy and Dee, I think you can both probably answer this, but Cleveland's willingness to host this draft at a time when, there are some restrictions and it can't be exactly what we all know it would have been if it weren't for COVID times. Do you think that if this goes the way everyone thinks it will go, this might be an opportunity for you guys to do another one here, maybe not in the too distant future, when it can just be open to everyone?
I mean, that would be our hope. I mean, we're doing a great job. I think we're going to have a great crowd down there. Obviously, not near what we would have had it been completely open. But I do think we're being smart about it. We're being careful and smart and starting out with a size that we think we can handle. And like I said, the city's going to be open. There's going to be lots of areas to go to enjoy the draft. So you don't necessarily have to be right up on the stage. But I do think it's a great example of what you can do. And our hope is that it opens up Cleveland, not just for the draft, but people see what a great place it is for all kinds of events. So we think it just showcases Cleveland terrifically.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Next, we'll go to Daryl Ryder.
Hey, Dee and Jimmy, great to see you as always. Hosting the draft has actually opened up some possibilities on the lakefront by them getting rid of all those warehouses and that. And I know you guys have explored potential opportunities down there. What do you hope that hosting the draft and having that space opened up could, potentially bring? What would you like to see down there across from the stadium?
Yeah, I think, Daryl, good to see you. I think there's a couple of issues. One, in a lot of ways, having the stadium on the lake is great. On the other hand, ingress, egress, and parking is less than ideal. And what we hope over a period of time, and there's preliminary plans underway, is to connect downtown to the lakefront in a much better, more convenient way, particularly for pedestrian, but also for cars. And we hope this will further the opening up of the lakefront. We'll leave what should be developed down there to others, but I think we would all agree that better ingress, egress to that area will help First Energy Stadium, the Browns, and all the events we have there, but will help develop that area.
And just opening the whole area, the Lake Erie, to the entire community. I mean, to the city. It's beautiful, and it's somewhat blocked off. This is going to be, I think, showcasing Lake Erie and having these events there is going to provide some opportunity for other people. We're excited about it.
Dee and I were down there last night, and it looks, I'm sure most of you all been down there too, it looks outstanding. As Dee says, it gives the city a completely different look than we've had before.
You guys are also kind of expanding the entertainment aspect of what you're, doing with Haslam Sports Group and that. Just kind of curious, the draft, what maybe inspiration do you guys draw from that? And, how does that impact maybe what you guys want to do here in Cleveland going forward?
Well, I think everybody knows we're all in on Cleveland and have been for quite some time. So I don't know that it benefits our sports group as much as it does. It's really an event that we play, the Browns and Haslam Sports play a small role in. The city of Cleveland, the Sports Commission, the NFL play a huge role. And like I said this earlier, we're just really happy that, really who we believe the greatest football fans in the world get to see the draft hosted in their home city, whether they come down to the event or get to watch it on TV. Dee and I sat down after dinner last night and watched the NFL channel, and just, I'm sure you all have all done it, just seeing all these great shots of Cleveland, whether they're from the river, from the lake, or of downtown, is great for this area.
Thanks, Daryl. We'll go to Nate Ulrich for our next question.
Hey, Dee and Jimmy, good to see you. For years, the draft has been like the Super Bowl for Browns fans. And after last year, with everybody, you guys, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry and the roster and the success you guys had, I'm wondering if you guys are allowing your expectations to go, to the Super Bowl being the Super Bowl for the Browns in the not too distant future. Where are you guys' expectations at after last year?
Listen, everybody wants to get to the Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal, and to win the Super Bowl. But I think we, as much as probably more than anybody, understand how competitive and hard the NFL is. And I'm not sure if anybody else has shared this, but Kevin's opening talk to the team, if you'll remember, after we lost that tough game to the Chiefs back on January 17th, everybody, Miles, Baker, et cetera, were saying we'll be back, and we all want to hear that. But Kevin flashed up either the last 2 or 3 years, I can't remember, 5 of the 10 teams that made the playoffs did not make it back. So half the teams that were in the playoffs the previous year didn't make it the next year. So I can assure you, we all understand how hard it is to win in the NFL. And I think I know our coaching staff and our support staff, and I believe our players will go in with that type of mindset, because it's a tough, we have a hard schedule this year. We have a tough schedule. We play in a tough division. So we've got to, as Kevin says, we've got to work hard to get to where we need to go.
We haven't had a chance to talk to you since, he became the NFL Coach of the Year. Get your thoughts on his first season. What impressed you most with everything you had to deal with?
I'll let Dee answer that after this, but I would say just how unbelievably being an NFL coach is one of the hardest management jobs I think there is in the country. And to do it during COVID, it's almost unimaginable how difficult it is. And he was the same. I mean, you guys dealt with him in your press conference, same even-keeled, steady person. Even the first time we've been in the playoffs in whatever it is, 20 odd years, and he didn't get to participate. He was the same even-keeled, calm self the whole time. And to do that in a normal NFL season is really tough. To do it in a season where you're battling COVID is remarkable. And I think that speaks a lot to the person Kevin is and the kind of makeup he has.
Yeah, I mean, he was not calm watching that game, however, from the reports we got. But he's extremely organized. He's smart. Like Jimmy said, he's unflappable. And I think his characteristics are just perfect for Cleveland and as a head coach. We could not be more excited about last year and this year. Very excited about Kevin and what he's doing.
Thanks, Nate. Scott Petrick, we'll go to you.
Hey guys, obviously the success last year hadn't been experienced by the organization in decades. What was the most gratifying and fun part for you guys?
Jimmy and I talked about it. It was really hard. Every game, I think we aged 10 years. We're pretty old already, so that was tough. But it was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of pressure. Really, really exciting. And we look back on the season with a lot of great memories. But I don't know how it was for all of you, but I thought every game was very tense.
Yeah, I would say that just to see how happy our players and coaches were. I mean, you all know how hard the players and coaches work, how long the season is, the hours they put in, the ups and downs, the injuries, last year, the COVID situation, just to see how happy they were when we won a lot of games, beat Pittsburgh to make it to the playoffs, beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs, just to see how happy and gratified they were was, at least to me, by far the most satisfying part.
Then was it difficult not to have the stands full? I mean, obviously that's out of your control, but
oh man, just think that last game. I remember Joe Thomas telling me late in his career, he said, I just want to play in a game in late December or January that's meaningful. And we got to do that. I think it was January 3rd, if I remember, the last regular season game at home, playing our arch rival to make the playoffs for the first time in many, many years. And we had fans there and they were great and they were vocal, but not to have 68,000 there and have it rocking was a disappointment. But it was the same thing when we went to Pittsburgh, the next week and won. So, but yeah, for our fans who have waited so long to see a winning season and then to make the playoffs, it's disappointing. But they're going to get the chance this year to come to 9 home games, 9 home regular season games.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Tony Grossi, you're up.
Hi, Dee. Hi, Jimmy. I have 2 quick questions. Number one is, If not for the pandemic, one of your games would have been played in London last year. Do you have any intel to share about whether one of your 9 home games might be played overseas this year?
I don't think we're playing overseas this year, Tony. I don't think anybody is because of the uncertainty of COVID. And I think the NFL has announced that there'll be 4 games out of the country and it'll be rotated. And I think going forward, it used to be teams that wanted to give up a home game or that had been promised a new stadium or a new Super Bowl. And I think it's going to rotate evenly and it'll come off of the group that has 9 home games, if you will. So, but to answer your question, there won't be any in 21.
Okay. And that huge stage that they've erected, is there life after the draft for that? Or is it going to be disassembled?
It's pretty much disassembled. I had heard somebody else ask that question, and I was like, I haven't heard anything. I'm pretty sure they put it up and take it down fairly quickly.
Okay, thank you.
It is huge and it's impressive. And I happened to drive by it yesterday and they were showing Nick Chubb running for a touchdown. And hell, I got fired up just seeing that.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Fred Greetham has our next question.
Hey, Jimmy and Dee, thanks for taking the time with us. Kind of piggybacking off Scott's earlier question, you've been through some hard times here. What is the most gratifying or what are you most pleased with the organization or the team overall at this stage going into this season?
I mean, I think you saw it last year. I mean, they took every game. Every game was, Monday they started all over with a new week and left the last game behind and worked really hard. And I think that they have that mindset that, every game counts, every game's important, and let's take it a game at a time to get through the season. And I think you'll see that going into this. They'll do the same thing and really focus without getting too ahead of themselves or too distracted.
I would say how well everybody has worked together. That's something we obviously struggled with early on. And the quote alignment has been obviously really positive going into last season working through COVID and obviously this off season. And I'll just reiterate what I said. It's just so, Dee and I, don't get us wrong, we were elated how well we played late in the year and making the playoffs and win a playoff game, but way, way, way more so happy for everybody that works in the organization, but that because they do the real work, the hard work, whether that be coaches, players, scouts, business side, et cetera, to see how happy everybody was, even in a COVID-like environment, was just tremendously gratifying.
Thanks, Fred. Jeff Shadell, you are.
I don't believe I've talked to you since the Columbus Crew won the championship. I saw Dee out there on the field. Talk about that, the satisfaction you guys got saving soccer for Columbus, and then how big that would be if it became a Cleveland Super Bowl winner.
Well, I think Cleveland should take credit for saving the soccer team in Columbus because we'd heard all the stories about what it was like to lose a team. And I think that got our attention in Columbus, and having a pro team in a city is just a big deal. And losing it for Columbus to lose the soccer team would have been crushing it. Look, we didn't know anything about soccer. We really didn't. We've always been a football family, and our daughter played goalie. But beyond that, we didn't know at offsides what happened then. We didn't know anything. And so to buy a soccer team, we're probably ill prepared for it. But we did learn to get really great people involved in the organization. And we were fortunate enough to do that. And then, win the MLS Cup was just a tremendous honor. I mean, I can't tell you how exciting it was. We were somewhat stunned, but so excited, still excited. We're opening a new stadium down there in June, and that's going to be an exciting thing. And before we open the stadium, we're having the ring ceremony. So lots of exciting things coming forward with that, but really important for Columbus and the community and Ohio. I mean, it's a great team. And it's really important to the community. Nothing unifies a community besides a sport. So very excited to be part of that story down there.
Yeah, I would just say the same thing Dee articulated well that we said about the Browns' success is a soccer organization is smaller. I think you have 25 players total on your roster, and really probably 15 of them play regularly. And instead of having a coaching staff of 25, it's probably 25% that size. But to see the excitement in our players, our coaches, our personnel guys was just that night down on the field, and it was really intimate because I think, what do we have, 3 or 4,000 people there, and just us down on the field. So it was, I take D and I out of the equation, but it was the people responsible for bringing MLS championship to Columbus for the second time, and see how happy they were. It's just really, really rewarding.
Thank you, Jeff. Mary Kay Cabot, back to you.
Yeah, Jimmy and Dee, I know you guys are really, really sad that you're not drafting a quarterback this weekend. But my question is, just talk a little bit about how well Baker played for you guys, especially down the stretch, and him getting the 5th-year option picked up. And would you guys like to see him get extended this offseason, ideally?
Yeah, I think we were all pleased to see the growth in Baker last year as a player and as a leader. I think we all understand how important quarterback is in the NFL, so we were delighted to see that. Baker deserves a 5th-year option, and I think he and Andrew have both addressed the possibility of things after that, and we'll leave that up to Andrew to decide when that happens. But we're well pleased with where Baker is, and I'll be honest, we're really excited to see what Kevin and Dee and I happened to walk down the steps with Alex Van Pelt, and to see what Kevin and AVP and Baker. And if you think about it, we have our entire offense back, and we have our entire coaching staff back, except for one of our offensive quality control individuals who went to be a coach at Yale. So to have that type of continuity, which we strove to get here on offense, going into a second year with Kevin, and Baker, we're just really excited to see.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Dan Lobby is next.
Hey, Dee and Jimmy. Andrew and Kevin both seem to emphasize, developing coaches and developing young front office personnel. It seems like they're very intentional about that. How important is that to your organization's success, that those guys want to bring in young coaches, young personnel executives, and really kind of develop them to take the next steps?
I think it's outstanding. And, Dee and I are both involved in business on the outside. And I'll say this, we've learned watching them, and down to the details of having our position coaches be interviewed, practice interviewed, if you will, to be coordinators, our coordinators practice interviewed to be head coach. Same with some of our key personnel people. I think you won't just see Andrew and Paul this weekend. I think you'll see a lot of our personnel group up on stage answering questions, and that's obviously an opportunity for you all to get to know them, but for them to develop. So both of them are outstanding. Both Andrew and Kevin are outstanding at that, and Paul, in his normal kind of behind the scenes way, is great at planning and thinking through those. So we give them high marks for that practice, and I think it'll be, you saw it with players this year, and we haven't always been in this situation where, hey, I want to come play here. I like the environment. I think they can win, and I don't think it's going to be different for coaches or personnel people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Marla Ridenour, you're up.
Great to see you guys. I just wanted to ask you a sort of a continuity question, but talking about Andrew and Kevin, I mean, is it almost like you can sleep better at night knowing that you kind of have guys who look like they have staying power? I mean, I don't want to put too much on to, their early time, but just you look like you really, hit on two incredible leaders here. How do you feel about that?
I think you said it well. Just take out almost, Marla, and you got it.
Yeah, and I think what's so great about those two individuals is just how well they work together, and with all of us and with everybody in the organization. They're very collaborative, and they're just great to work with.
Is there anything about either one of them, though, that maybe surprised you? Or, I mean, you have this persona of the Harvard and, Yale kind of guys. You know what I mean? Like anything that kind of surprised you about either one of them?
Well, they're really, really, really smart. I mean, it did surprise us, but it's nice to have that around. They're really, really smart.
Yeah, I think, listen, we'd all known Andrew, but we'd never seen him as the top person. And he was 33. Think about that when he first became GM, he's 34 now. So to see him at such a young age take control of our personnel group and lead it the way he did. And same thing with Kevin. Kevin had been with the Vikings, 12, 13 years, had never been a head coach anywhere. And yet if you came to practice that first day or heard his first talk to the team, you never think, well, I can tell this guy's new. I mean, they both stepped right in. They're natural leaders. They're very calm. They're thoughtful. They plan and organize things well. And I don't want to say it was a surprise because we had our expectations, but they surpassed expectations in terms of becoming the top person in personnel and the head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, great leaders.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. We have time for one more question. That one will go to Scott Petrick. Scott, go ahead.
There's been some back and forth between the league and the Players Association about the offseason program. Do you expect to have the mandatory minicamp in person, and do you feel it's necessary?
We're hopeful. I think this, first of all, we're pleased to have one of our leaders be the leader of the Players Association. And the second thing I think we'd say is that, and I don't want to speak for all the owners or all the players, but we're partners in this. And I think it's a partnership that has worked really well. It worked well to form the last CBA, which is going to last for the next, 9 or 10 years now. And I think working together collectively will work through. If you think about it, I think the exact number is 256 games. We played 256 games, didn't miss a game, worked in a very fluid situation. And I mean this as a positive, made up the rules as we went and changed the rules. And I feel confident we'll work through whatever we need to work through this spring in a way to set us up to have another great NFL season, which I think is what everybody in America wants to see.